What is going on, snipers? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. I hope all of y'all are enjoying your day today. Let's dive into our daily cryptocurrency market update for the day. We're going to be talking about why Tron is better than Ethereum according to this man over here. And then also look at EOS Dawn 3.0 being launched today. This is the pre-release to its mainnet, which is due to launch in June. We're going to talk about why we may see investment opportunities here. So we'll look at the Tron technical analysis, the EOS technical analysis, as well as Bitcoin. The SEC now formally considering ETFs for Bitcoin. Why is that a big deal? We'll understand this is going to drive more institutional money into the market. And what's interesting about ETFs is it typically leads into option markets, which would be a whole other ball game for Bitcoin if that were to come alive. So let's dive into this technical analysis first and foremost. Looking at Bitcoin's relative strength index, y'all can see we're heading back down towards these lower levels under 40, which is bearish. And I'm looking to get more entry positions under 30 because last time we saw the RSI dip below 30, we had this huge rise in price. So price movement has really been pretty stagnant over the past 24 hours. And that's really why I haven't really been as engaged with my swing trades, because I'm not necessarily as confident at these levels now that we're testing this bottom for the third time. So in my opinion, now that we're going back down to these lower levels, you can see we're right at these known support levels. There's a high chance that we can see some further downside since there's obviously no strength right now within these price levels. Volume is not seeing any sort of significant increase like we saw previously where we hit the bottom. So it's going to be interesting to watch Bitcoin over the next couple of days, but we're more excited about the long term, right? So look at this article, institutional investors incoming. SEC formally considering Bitcoin ETFs. Now what's awesome about this is we talked about the CBOE encouraging the SEC to at least consider ETFs, and now they're finally doing so. Why is this important? Well, you can see here, this is going to bring a greater exposure to Bitcoin future contracts, which means that there's more liquidity outside the market betting against the market, which will thus result in more liquidity in the market. If y'all don't know, liquidity, bam, there's the definition. Liquidity is basically liquid assets. It's what you have available, cash, right? So you can see here, it's funny, they say it's the gold standard of cryptocurrency. I like that. And then what ETFs is going to eventually do, Bitcoin-backed ETFs will help facilitate institutional adoption, as we're talking about, because most of them are fearfully waiting on the sidelines. And there's greater liquidity. Let's transition into Justin Sun, and let's talk about some drama. Justin Sun tweeting to Vitalik Buterin 7 reasons why Tron is better than Ethereum. Vitalik replying back saying that you copied and pasted your white paper, dude. Why is this important? Well, understand this. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more competition. We're going to be seeing a lot more of this type of headbanging in this marketplace. And the reason for that is because we're in the dial-up phase of the blockchain cryptocurrency sphere. And what that means is being in the dial-up phase, there are going to be a lot of advances that are going to happen in a short amount of time, which will deem past projects almost useless. Think about AOL. Y'all remember dial-up? Well, that's gone now, right? It's the same thing in this market. We're going to be seeing all these de-application platforms arising with all different ideas, techniques, technicals, mechanicals, but at the end of the day, it's all about which one is the most advanced and the most evolved and will bring the most use case and intrinsic value to the plate. And as y'all can see, Tron is definitely trying its best. We're going to be doing a quick technical analysis as well, but it's funny because somebody that's influential in the market, Elliot Wavy, said they're light years away than Ethereum right now. So he's saying that Tron is better than Ethereum. So regardless of the fact, if you're looking to get a position in Tron, let's go ahead and do a quick technical analysis to see where prices are headed. This is going to be the USD pairing. Being the fact that a lot of y'all have been talking about USD pairings coming to these exchanges, you're looking at these dollar values. Well, in technical analysis here, Tron is at a really good spot in terms of USD value. You can see we're finding some strong support right around that 2-cent mark, and then we're seeing some resistance right around 5 cents. We're in a very, very narrow channel. That's a great thing because now we know these support and resistance levels, and we can play according to these support and resistance levels. So as y'all can see, this is the channel that we're forming. What's really cool about this is you're seeing that we're seeing a lot more buy volume here for Tron. In my opinion, that is a very good thing here because you can see the potential for Tron's price to go all the way up to these higher highs, at one point hitting 31 cents. I think that it may be a good time to maybe start dollar cost averaging your position in Tron as we're seeing these lower levels. And what's also cool is on the 1-day RSI, we're still in that neutral zone. So this can give you a little bit of confidence entering a position and knowing when to also enter that position, and that would preferably be at the latter part of this RSI level. So as it starts to head back down towards that 40 and possibly bouncing, I think that's the best time to get a position, and then holding that until the long term as Tron goes from launching its testnet as it did into its mainnet and then further. So let's go ahead and take a look at EOS taking another step towards its main launch with Dawn 3.0. What a big feat for EOS. Understand, EOS is different than Ethereum in many ways. Ethereum is more so geared towards scalability, while EOS is more geared towards speed. And I'll give you an example of this. There's a Tesla type of ICO going on right now. I think it's called Testloop, or I think they've already released their product. I was at a conference and I saw them speaking, but they're actually transitioning from ERC20 to the EOS platform because in their use case, they don't necessarily need to have a decentralized server, or they don't need decentralized nodes the way that Ethereum has thousands and thousands of nodes verifying transactions. They just need speed. So EOS takes those thousands and thousands of nodes, pretty much compresses them into a centralized so-called node network, which is centralized because there's a lot less and it's controlled, but it's a lot faster. So what that means is it's creating its own niche, and what that will cause is projects to go from Ethereum to EOS, and then also newer projects starting on EOS because they adapt to their needs more than Ethereum does. And I think we're going to be seeing this balance war happening where more and more projects are either going to be choosing EOS, Ethereum, or other blockchains to build their platform on. And this is an interesting feat because I think that one of the best investments in this market right now is decentralized application platforms, being the fact that we know there's use case for them. So as you can see with this article, the main release is in June, which could be hinting at possible hype and news opportunities where we can buy the hype, sell the news. So we're going to be looking at a technical analysis because of that. And then you can see how the Dawn 3.0 release has all of the functionalities that the mainnet is set to release, and it's open for testing, which means it could really start to help these developers get in line with what they need to do to their platform to completely integrate it with the EOS Dawn 3.0 testnet. So you can see here, it's touted as an Ethereum killer. And what's also cool is they mention all of these other de-application platforms like Neo, Stellar, Quantum, Tron, and VeChain being other competitive projects against EOS. And this also falls in line with the topic we talked about with Tron and Ethereum. It's the same thing. Competition is arising. We're going to be seeing a lot more of this. What I'm going to be looking for is who's going to compete with value and integrity and ethics, because that's the person I would want to invest in. And looking at any project, you want to find a good quarterback, because a good quarterback will get you to the end zone no matter what. So looking at this article here, I'm going to leave this in the link in the description. It's a Medium article pretty much going through the whole EOS Dawn 3.0 system and what it includes and what problems it fixes in comparison to other blockchains. And then to wrap up with the analysis here of EOS in USD valuation, you can see very similar to Tron, we're seeing some consolidation, but we recently saw a spike in price, seeing some resistance right around $7.40. What I would do at this point here, knowing that the RSI is at these lower levels and it's bouncing on top of the 40, as long as there's a position set within this RSI level of neutral, setting up stop losses in these bearish zones and then setting up take profits past this bullish zone would probably be the best bet right now with EOS, even in the long-term perspective, being the fact that you can see here prior to the big bull run that we saw in December, we were at the price levels that we're currently at. So without the hype, we're pretty much at reasonable prices in my opinion. Knowing that EOS is going to have more and more projects transition over to their platform, I think there's true intrinsic value here, and volume is starting to increase just like we saw with Tron. So with that being said, hopefully y'all enjoyed this analysis and this update. If you all haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you have, turn on post notifications. And with that being said, thank you for watching. Snipers out.